Hi, what's going on everybody? Ratchet Wrench is back for another video, and today we have the 2016 Jeep Cherokee. This is the Trailhawk edition, and today we're going to be installing this Flowmaster Delta Force intake. You guys love this car and you love seeing the tutorials. If you haven't seen them, we have bull bars, light bars, HID lights, tow hook, tow harness that goes all the way to the front. So we have a bunch of different installs, so definitely check them out. There's a whole playlist categorized for this particular model. But before we get into that, I want to show off our new merch now that it is fall almost. It's going to get a little chilly, so we have these nice hoodies right here, the standard logo on the back, plain front. There's a multitude of colors. And of course we have this one which has Ratchet on the front underlined, and then on the back is the logo. We have our standard tee here, which is just on the back, our logo, and then in the left hand corner there's our logo as well. We have hats, we have a snapback right here, and then of course we have the trucker hats as well. And this one's pretty cool. This is our new design, drop a gear and disappear, and that's on the back. And the front of course has our logo as well. There's a bunch of other colors, a bunch of other designs. There's even doggy hoodies, so definitely check that out. It's down in the description below, and all proceeds for this helps us fund the channel and gets our content better for you guys. And without further ado, let's install this thing. Alright, first things first, let's unbox this thing and see what we got here. There is a bunch of other companies out there that make a bunch of intakes for the system, but I'm assuming in here is going to be the filter itself. We'll keep that boxed up so we don't get any contaminants on it. We got all the couplers, all the piping, all the hose clamps there. We got weather stripping, but pretty much you wrap it around this whole frame here and it just protects it from rattling or bumping into anything. And then of course we have the pipe itself. So pretty simple, there's not much to it. First things first, you're just going to take off this cover. You just pull up on it and get that out of the way. So now what we're going to be removing is this box to here. That's all going to be going. As you can see, we have a little ratchet fix over here. The previous owner on this thing, he broke it and then he did like some kind of JB weld or some kind of like plastic thing, and it just wasn't holding up anymore, so it did make us end up getting a new intake. Plus, you know, it's good for performance gains. You might get a little better gas mileage, maybe even slightly a little bit of horsepower. So now that we got the cover out of the way, we're going to start up here. There is a sensor right in here. You're just going to push that tab right there. You just push that in and it'll slide out. Now this is connected to, it's just a little, should have a panel popper, but you should be able to use your hand, which I am. Okay, got that out of the way. You just pretty much want to free up anything that's on this. So we're going to pull this out, set that aside, we'll take this out of here. There. Now that's out of the way completely. So we're going to take it all out as one. We'll disconnect it over here. It's an 8mm. You can use a flathead too, or just a socket. I'm just lazy and don't feel like using hand tools, so I'll disconnect that there. Okay. Now we got to disconnect. This is held on right there by another push pin, so I'm going to use a panel popper for that. Unless I could get a flathead on it. It's just easier to use a panel popper, but you can use a flathead. Alright, so this was that little push pin which we used the panel popper for. It sits right in there, and that's just what holds this in. There is one more thing that we have to detach. That's just this little thing, just a little push pin. So you got all that out of the way, and then the last but not least thing to do is remove this hose clamp over here, which is connecting this to the throttle body. Once again, it is at 8mm. And that should free it up. This might be on there a little bit. It hasn't been off since probably factory, since it's been on. There is a push pin on the back here, which it just kind of sits on, but it's okay. So now we just gotta get this factory air box out of the way. There's 5 screws that hold this in. They are Phillips, or once again you can use that 8mm. So yeah, the previous people only left 2 screws in there, so it makes our life easier. There's one. Here's the other. So for your information, the other ones, one there, and then one there. We'll get this out of the way. Boom. So that previous step, in reality, you could keep that box hooked up to this bottom portion right here with those screws, but it just makes it easier to get a hold of it with that top off. But now you just pretty much pull it up so it gets out of the 3 rubber grommets. There's one down here, one down here, and then one over here, and it just lifts up. And it's probably been in there for a while, so expect it to be a little tough. Might need some WD-40, but there we go. Now it's time to put the new system on. So one last thing that you have to take off the stock pieces is the air temp sensor, and it's pretty straightforward. There's an arrow on how to lock it, so the way you have to do it, it's going to sit in there like this. That tab is going to be 90 degree. You have to turn it all the way to that 90 degree right there, and you can pull it out. And it is stuck in there, it's plastic, so be careful. We did end up breaking this little plastic thing right here, but it's just a little guide, so it's not really going to be too much of an issue. If it does become an issue, it's like a $30 part, so we'll just buy that. But now we'll set this aside in a nice area over here, and starting to reassemble the new piping. Alright, so now it's time to assemble this. We're going to take this channel kind of thing, it's got threads in them, so we'll line them up with that right there. Just gonna spin it until I find the hole right there. So they give us some 8mm Allen key with some lock washers, so we'll do some locks. Let's get it snug. It sounds a lot louder because all the vibration is going through that thing. It's really not. And we'll get to the next step, which will probably just be, we'll do the weather stripping. Just get it on there. Oh yeah, these are in there. So you got this little gasket right here. They call it a gasket. Just cut it in half. And just pretty much follow it all the way up. It's going to be a little tough. There is metal enforced in here, so it's going to grip to it. Corners and bends are going to be a nightmare, so just kind of go slow, find the bends, and work with them. So we went ahead and put the little bracket on here. There's 2 screws as well, and then we use a washer, and then there's a nut on the back side. It just sits like that. Now you have to reuse these grommets from the stock airbox, so they're either stuck on the back of the stock airbox or on the part where it goes to on the car. Now we got to put them through here, so we're going to lube them up with some WD-40. Let's get them nice and moist. I hate that word, but it just makes life easier to get them on. So we're going to flip this on the back side here and just put them right on through. So they'll sit like that, and that will sit like so. The engines on this side, and those 2 grommets will go right into the stock placeholders. Alright, so now that this is all ready to go, we have these 2 grommets that we just put in over there, which are going to go, if you want to come over here, on the factory studs right there and there. And then this bracket over here also used a factory thing, but they give you a new stud and a new grommet, which I already put in. You just put it in there, you'll put this through, like so, and then you'll line these all up. Like this. So this is in its final place. We got the brackets down. We did end up putting that screw through the bracket into that grommet, which tightened it down. And this just sits there. Those studs are not going to poke all the way through. It's, you know, it catches, so just keep in mind of that. Now we're going to make our way over here to this. You have a threaded side, and then you have the open side. This is for your air intake temp sensor. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to put the 45 degree in here first. Get it down all the way as far as you can. It is brass in there, so you don't got to over tighten it. And then you put this one on as well. We're going to tighten this down to the 45 as tight as possible. Then this is what's going to go onto that, so we'll remove that factory part. We'll keep this 45 loose so we have the orientation right and everything like that. So they give you a grommet here as well, which is going to just go in this groove, and it's going to sit like that, and that's where your intake air temp sensor is just going to go through, and we'll plug it in, and that's that. So that air intake sensor is now sitting through that rubber grommet and it ain't moving. So that's gonna be like that. Now you're gonna take the smaller out of the couplers and you're gonna put that here. You got 2 hose clamps. You'll need 1 to get over that hump. So I got this one on this side of the hump. I'm just gonna tighten that down a little bit. Just kind of get it snug on that. And then put that on this side, and then that's going over the throttle body, which is in the back. Unfortunately, we're running out of daylight. You always want to make sure these face you so it's easier to access. Careful that air intake sense. If I can get it. There we go. Okay, that's on. Now I just gotta tighten these things down. Get this one down. It's not going anywhere. We'll plug in the air intake again. And we'll start working on this and then the air filter. So the last step is just get this coupler up over that. I'll tighten that one down real quick. And then we'll get this on top of that. And get this coupler pretty much on this back little notch. Alright, so everything's buttoned up. We got this hose back onto that. Now the last thing to do is put this air filter on. It's just going to go around that opening. Ran out of daylight, unfortunately. It's getting darker quick. And voila, the air filter is in. Everything's buttoned down. Make sure all your connections are good. This you just put back onto here. These things obviously have nowhere to go, so they just rest there, but that's okay because it's very taut. The intake air temp sensor is back on. This won't go anywhere because there's nowhere to put it on stock. And now we'll start it up and see how she sounds. See if we have a really big difference or not. Tell it does pull a little bit harder, so you will get those gains. Not too much, but I'm sure it's something. It does the job. I mean, it's a really easy tutorial, really quick job. It's 250 bucks. Spruces up the engine bay a little bit. Of course, we'll have the cover back on. You only really see this much, but you could go with the K&N, which is a little more pricey at $300, which a lot of people recommend. But Flowmaster makes a great brand. It's, you know, they're mostly known for their exhaust, but this intake, man, it's quality. It looks identical to a K&N. Alright guys, that's a wrap for today's video. We hope you enjoyed. A super easy tutorial. I know a lot of you guys have been following us and subscribed for us for this particular vehicle, so we brought this for you. If you guys have any other videos or recommendations you want to see, definitely in the near future, comment down below and let us know. We got big things coming for the Miata, we got more for the Stang, more for the GTI, more for the F-150, and of course even the Ram 1500. So stay tuned for that. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by and make sure to subscribe. But until next time, that's a wrap. We're out.